Sup guys, it's Alex here and welcome to the February 4th edition of the Bracketology update. And man, what a treat we had last night in the UCLA versus Arizona game. That one came down to the wire with about 3 minutes to go. It was like a 2-point game. I think Arizona had been up 63-61 before Arizona just pulled it away at the end. I think it ended up being an 11-point win, I want to say. I want to say it was 74-63, but I may be wrong on that part. But either way, Arizona stuffed UCLA in that last stretch and just took off. Great win for Arizona after getting blown out by UCLA the first time around, and people started to say, is this team for real? They proved they are for real last night, and there was just some great basketball that we had this week. It was, just kind of a regular week, it was interesting, especially the Louisville, North Carolina game. It was a bubble game, it was on the ACC network, it wasn't on national TV, so a lot of people didn't get to see it, but I live in Louisville, so that was something that I got to see where Armando Bacot, I think is how you pronounce his name, for North Carolina, he reached around, just took out a Louisville player on a rebound, would have been his 5th foul, but somehow the refs ended up calling the foul on Louisville, and this was in overtime when it was a 3-point game or something like that, when North Carolina was up by 3, but Louisville got the offensive rebound. But they called an offensive foul, and it was just one of the worst calls I've ever seen. Louisville got hosed, and I'm a Kentucky fan, so that's saying a lot right there. But they got absolutely hosed in that game. But that was just something crazy that ended up saying not a whole lot of ranked teams have fallen this week. It's been kind of a slow week in terms of ranked teams losing. But we always got this weekend where we have number 8 Baylor versus number 10 Kansas. I simulated that entire game on NCAA Basketball 10. These videos take forever to make. They take forever to upload, too, because they're 50 to 55-minute videos. So if you haven't checked that simulation out, go check it out. It's just something fun that I like to do and all that fun stuff. But taking a look here at the bracket watch, top overall seed remains Auburn. It's going to remain Auburn until they lose or get blown out. Maybe if they lose, they'll still keep that 1 overall seed. It just depends on who they lose to. First team out is Florida. I don't blame Joe Lunardi here. Florida just has not been looking impressive lately. Last team in is Oregon. I do believe in Oregon a little bit. I mean, I don't think they're going to really go far in the NCAA tournament, but I do think they deserve to actually be in the NCAA tournament. Oh, I can't believe I forgot at the top of the video. Marquette, one of the teams I believe in the most this year. And I've been believing in them since the beginning of this season. You can go check out any of the bracketologies that I've been doing since the beginning of November. I have been a supporter of Marquette, especially even when they were on the bubble. I think they were one of the last 4 teams in at one point this season. But now they got the season sweep over Villanova. They are now a 4 seed. It warms my heart to see a team that I believed in when they were a 10 or 11 seed just crush it this year, now making it to the 4 line, so I feel vindicated in that. Taking a look, though, at the bubble, last 4 byes are Loyola Chicago, San Francisco, who got a big win against BYU last night, Seton Hall, and then BYU, which I don't believe in this year, Wyoming, who got a big win over Boise State, Creighton, San Diego State, and Oregon. First 4 out are Florida, Mississippi State, Notre Dame, West Virginia. A lot of Power 5 conference teams here in these lists. Then the next 4 out are SMU, UAB, Florida State, and Chattanooga. Then if we take a look here at the movement, in the Midwest Regional, we got St. Mary's up to an 8, Xavier up to a 5, North Texas up to a 12, Illinois up to a 4, Kansas down to a 3, though that's more because of Arizona, I think, moving back up to the 2 line. It's not a knock on Kansas right now. And over there in the West Regional, we got Miami, Florida down to a 9, Villanova down to a 5, Wisconsin down to a 4 after Illinois. That's another game I forgot to mention. Illinois got a huge win against Wisconsin to not clinch their lead. I guess they retain their lead, I would say, in the Big Ten race. I mean, it's not clinched to get the 1 seed in the Big Ten tournament, but we got a month left to go, so you never know. I never thought Illinois would be the team that'd be leading after DeSumo left last year. Then we have Tennessee down to a 6, Wyoming up to an 11, Texas Tech up to a 3, and then Arizona up to a 2 after that big win over UCLA. Taking a look at the South Regional, we have Arkansas up to an 8. They've been turning around their season. Murray State up to a 9, the mid-major. They have a higher seed right now than they did when John Morant played for them, which is pretty crazy. Then we have San Diego State down to a 12, Oregon new to the field as a 12, Marquette up to a 4, BYU down to an 11, and North Carolina up to a 10 after that Louisville game. Then over in the East Regional, we have Wake Forest down to a 9, Seton Hall down to an 11. They've been falling lately. And Houston down to a 3. So as you guys know, if you've been watching these bracketology videos, every time there's a bracketology that comes out, I go to the vertex42.com and go and update this bracket based off the teams that are currently in these positions on Joe Lunardi's bracketology. And then I just like to give my picks for the bracketologies. And at some point here, I don't remember what, I'll figure out where I'm going to put it, but I'll start that 2-word food item thing I did last year just to see who's actually watching these videos and seeing the picks and stuff, instead of just skipping to the end to see who ended up winning my bracketology predictions. But anyway, let's go ahead and get this show on the road with some picks. Obviously, we're going to have Auburn beat the winner of Southern and New Orleans. Then I'm actually going to have Oklahoma here with Porter Moser pulling off the slight 9/8 upset over St. Mary's. Then Xavier. All you Xavier fans who say that I hate Xavier, I'm actually going to have them win a first-round tournament game. How about that? They're usually one of my favorite picks to get upset in the first round. But against North Texas, I don't think that's going to happen. I got Xavier moving on to the second round. Then Illinois will beat Drake. Then we got Lsu and Davidson. This one's a tough matchup here. LSU's been faltering lately. They did get back on track. I'm pretty sure they got a win during the week this week. I can't remember off the top of my head. But I do think that LSU is going to start turning things around here. They got either Xavier or Theo Pinson back. I can't remember which one it is off the top of my head. But that'll be huge for LSU. I think they'll be able to right that ship and get the victory there. Kansas will beat Jacksonville State. Then I'm going to go with Indiana with Trace Jackson Davis beating San Francisco. It's nice to see San Francisco as an at-large 10 seed right there. UCLA will beat Cal State Fullerton. Then we're going to have Auburn beat Oklahoma to move to the Sweet 16. Illinois will beat Xavier. Then we are going to have Kansas moving on past LSU, and then UCLA moving on past Indiana. Then for a spot in the Elite Eight, we're going to have Auburn moving on past Illinois. Then Kansas versus UCLA in the Sweet 16. Are you serious? That is like a marquee game happening. Two of the most storied programs, two blue bloods right here. 3 and 2 seed. This could be a Final Four or national championship game here, but yet it's happening in the Sweet 16 because of the bracket. Oh man, UCLA and Kansas. I do think I am going to go with UCLA winning that one there, just because they've been looking a little bit better than Kansas this season. If David McCormick can turn it around, though, Kansas could make some moves there. But I do think that UCLA is going to win that one, but then fall to Auburn here in the final, or in the Elite Eight. Auburn moves to the Final Four. So we'll go down here to the bottom left regional. Purdue will beat the winner of Norfolk and UNC Wilmington. TCU, they've been looking pretty impressive lately. I think they'll beat Wake Forest. Alabama can beat Toledo, though they can also lose to Toledo. I mean, they lost to Iona and Georgia for all teams. They have a huge game against Kentucky this weekend. Then we're going to have Providence moving on past Furman. Then Texas will beat Seton Hall. Then we're going to have Houston. Oh, if I can pick Texas beating Seton Hall. There we go. Then Houston's going to beat Wagner. Loyal Chicago pulls off the 10-7 upset over USC. I just do not believe in USC this year. And then Duke will beat Princeton. If I can pick Duke, there we go. Then Purdue will move on to the Sweet 16, where they will face Providence moving on past Alabama. I think Alabama probably should win that game, but Alabama's just too inconsistent this year so far. I don't know which team's going to show up, so I'll go with Providence getting the win there. Then I'm going to go with an upset pick here with Chris Beard and Texas moving on past Houston, the 6-3 upset. Houston's just been kind of hanging out around the 3 line because the AAC is not very good this year. I think they'll end up being like a 3 seed probably in the tournament, but they'll be one of my favorite picks to get upset early. Then we're going to have Duke moving on past Loyola Chicago. Then Purdue will beat Providence to move to the Elite Eight, and they will face the winner of Duke and Texas, which I think would be Duke, which sets up Purdue and Duke for a spot in the Final Four, and I'm going to go with Paolo Banchero, Coach K in his final season, and the Duke Blue Devils. I think Purdue is a Final Four contending team. I just don't think it'll happen, though, against Duke in that experience. So then moving on down to the bottom right regional here, we'll work our way up that way. Baylor's going to beat Appalachian State. Then we're going to have Arkansas falling to Murray State. I want to see Murray State pull off the 9-8 upset. Ohio State will beat the winner of San Diego State and Oregon, which I think would be Oregon. Marquette will beat South Dakota State. Connecticut will beat BYU. Michigan State will move on past Weber State, if I can pick Michigan State. Then we are going to go with Iowa State there over North Carolina, and then Kentucky over, or that's supposed to be Longwood. I don't know why I didn't update that right there. Then Baylor will beat Murray State. As much as I want to see Murray State win that game, it's not going to happen. Then we'll have Marquette moving on past Ohio State. Michigan State will beat Connecticut, and then we're going to have Kentucky moving on against Iowa State. Then as much as I want to pick Marquette to pull off the victory here against Baylor to have a 1 seed fall early. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do it. I don't think this would actually happen in real life, but I'll have some fun here. There's always a one. It's very rare that all 4 seeds or 4 number 1 seeds ends up actually making the Elite Eight, and I think Marquette is one of those teams that can make some noise in the tournament. I got Marquette pulling off the upset there. Then Michigan State, Kentucky, 2 teams that I really love this year. I mean, I love Kentucky overall. Actually, these are probably my 2 favorite college basketball programs in general, Kentucky and Michigan State. I'm going to have Kentucky winning that one, and then Kentucky will move on to the Final Four out of that region. Kentucky up to number 5 in the nation. Oscar Tshiebwe leading the SEC in rebounds by 133 at the moment, which is crazy. But then moving on to our final regional, Gonzaga versus Colgate. I got Gonzaga moving on. Boise State, I think, can beat Miami, Florida. Villanova will beat Iona, and then we're going to have Wisconsin moving on past Vermont. Then Tennessee versus Wyoming and Creighton. I got Tennessee moving on. I think Wyoming will beat Creighton. Then we're going to have Texas Tech moving on past Oakland. Colorado State pulling off the 10-7 upset over Iowa, along with Arizona over Seattle. Then Gonzaga will move on to the Sweet 16 over Boise State. Then Wisconsin, I think, can beat Villanova. I think that's a rematch of, I want to say 2018, 2017, maybe something like that, to where Villanova, I think, was a number 1 overall seed, and they got upset by Wisconsin in the second round. That was crazy. That was like the Nigel Hayes year. Then we're going to have Texas Tech moving on here past Tennessee, and then Arizona moving on past Colorado State, which sets up an Elite Eight matchup of Gonzaga after they beat Wisconsin. And then Texas Tech and Arizona. Ooh, this is a really tough one. I really think that Texas Tech can win that game, but Arizona last night, after that game against UCLA, they proved it to me that they can also win it. But I am going to go with Texas Tech pulling off the victory there. I just believe in them more this year. Gonzaga versus Texas Tech. I got Gonzaga moving on here to the Final Four, which sets up a pretty good Final Four here. Auburn versus Duke, and then Gonzaga versus Kentucky. I think these are probably 4 of the top 5, or maybe even the top 4 teams in the nation at the moment. Auburn versus Duke. I am going to go with Auburn winning that one. That team is just playing 2 together right now. They are an absolute fire. Gonzaga versus Kentucky. As much as I want to pick my Kentucky Wildcats here, Gonzaga's just been rolling through the WCC in Kentucky. If they can get Shaedon Sharp, maybe they can beat Gonzaga there. I think I had Kentucky beating Gonzaga in a couple bracketologies recently. But right now, just how I'm feeling at this current moment, I do think Gonzaga is probably going to win that game, which sets up Auburn versus Gonzaga for the national championship. The top 2 teams in the nation right now. I got Auburn winning it all, and until they lose or they start stringing together some bad performances, I'm probably going to have Auburn winning the national championship. So, thank you guys for watching. Really hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think of my predictions. Leave your own in the comment section below. Oh, I forgot to say the 2-word food item. I can't believe it. Oh, I guess I'll just say it here at the end. Highlight at the beginning of this, of actually making my predictions. 2-word food item, soft taco. If you're watching right now, at the very end of the video, comment soft taco below. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you all later.